know thyself. One of the greatest things a lot of people say as they're getting older in life, they're like, that's my wisdom. You have to know thyself and honor thyself. So when I do this work with them, I work with the brow chakra and see what unfolds, and then I see what information comes up for them.
Hello, and welcome to the Constance Messmer podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Today, I want to talk to you about your brow chakra. Some people also call it the third eye. I'm not a fan of that phrase because it's creeping me out. It just creeps me out. I'm like, ew, yucky, ew. Anyway, the brow chakra. The location of your brow chakra is about an inch above the point between your eyebrows. I hope you get a lot from our time together. Listen, I have to tell you, this is probably going to be a double episode because there's way too much information to share in just one episode, and I just don't want to go on and on for hours. I don't think you want me to go on and on for hours either, so I'm going to break it up. Your brow chakra is the center of psychic awareness and intellect. It's really the seat of the mind on a psychic level and on an intellectual level. Physically, the brow chakra covers the eyes, the nose, the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus, the hormones, the brain, and the endocrine system. All of these are affected by the brow chakra and its health. Where your throat chakra had to do with also your mouth and therefore clairgustance and psychic taste, the brow chakra, because it covers the area of the eyes and the nose, it has to do with ClairOlfaction, the smell, your psychic smell, and ClairVoyance, your psychic sight. Also, because the brow chakra covers most of the brain, right? It is also the center of psychic awareness beyond just clairvoyance and clairolfaction. It's all aspects of psychic awareness because it has to be processed through the brain. So if you hear something, or if you feel physically something, or feel emotionally something, or you smell something, or you taste something, you know, all of these ways that we receive psychic awareness from your soul to yourself, or from others that hit our soul, then to ourself, are processed through the intellect. So all psychic awareness is interpreted through the brain, and therefore the brow chakra is important for this action. Okay, so some of the mental and emotional aspects that have to do with the brow chakra are the development of integrated personality and your balance, your ability to balance in your body, your ability to plan and see the future, your intellectual abilities, openness to the ideas of others, your ability to learn from experience and make decisions, conscience and consciousness efforts. This area also covers our experience of linear space and time. So, with that, you can imagine when there's any physical impact or mental emotional impact that thwarts the ability to have all of these in a healthy way, whether it's brain development or experiences as such. Imbalances that can be found in the brow chakra when the energy centers off is confusion on any of the aspects that I've mentioned already. Also, when people have headaches or migraines or sinus issues, allergies, tension, stress, stroke, brain tumor or hemorrhage, eyesight issues like blindness, also deafness, seizures, learning disabilities. Also, I work the brow chakra if there's full spinal difficulties. And, of course, badly blocked energy centers here, the brow chakra will coexist with major organic diseases within the brain. So, I can't believe I'm gonna laugh, but it's true. So this is also an area of the brow chakra. This is why sometimes when, I've gone into group settings where people are gonna do psychic work and they're not properly cleared, their auric field isn't cleared, or they have tons of family members around them in spirit realm. And, I walk in the room kind of unprepared or unsuspecting, maybe let's put it that way, and bam, immediately get a headache. Boom! Because it hits my brow chakra because I'm either thwarted by the energetic kind of crowdedness, if you will, of either a bunch of people's stuff because they've not cleansed their auric field and I walk in on it all, or if it's something that is, people wanting mediumship in a group setting or something, they're usually surrounded by loved ones and it's really crowded in the room, really crowded. And it often will register at my brow chakra or my third eye, for those of you that love that phrase. And so a little cheat that I always do is if I'm hosting the event and I am knowing well in advance, what I do is I often will go in the room that people will be, whether it's in my own space to teach or actually I've spoken at libraries and auditoriums and, you know, town halls, things like that. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll go in advance and I'll clear the room energetically. And then I will actually put clear quartz crystals around the room and especially on either side of the door. But I will also, set up kind of a vacuum, if you will, a vacuum, if you will, of light, like this beautiful arch of light that will dispel negativity and cleanse and clear them as they're walking in. So I will use these techniques and I will set it up often with angelic realm. I can't wait to tell you about the angels when we get to them. But, call on angels if you're meant to do work or if you're about to do work that's, for the highest good or you're helping, call on the angels to help. And so oftentimes I'll have angels in the room to help displace the energy. So it's really fascinating to me when I go to other people's, other mediums or psychics workshop experiences or go listen to them kind of do their work. Cause sometimes I do that. I go to their experience to think, okay, how are they running their kind of, show? How are they doing it? Or, how are they tuning in or where are they going or how deep are they going? So, I do my little research, but it's fascinating when I walk in and I'm hit because I'm like, "Oh my god, they didn't even they didn't even clear. They didn't clear." And I kinda wanna stop everybody and go, "Can we just all clear here and ground our energy, please?" But anyway, so that's why some of you that are very psychically astute or aware, you just might get hit in the head with a headache in these experiences. And just pay attention, right? Remember clairsensation when you sometimes walk into a new experience and it hits you full body? That too. Remember when I've told you my stories where I then step out of the room, step back, clear, imagine the white light coming down, ground my energy, take a deep breath, pull my auric field in, and then step in the room again, to see, oh, there's something clearly inside this room that is kind of having me stop the door. And so sometimes it doesn't hit you all full body as clear sensation. Sometimes it could just hit you as a headache, like boom, right in the brow chakra. And so I just invite you in those experiences to take pause, pay attention, take pause, step back, and then cleanse and clear, and then kind of picture thoughts or your awareness forward into the room that you had just stepped into to say like what's happening in here, that I'm getting a reaction, that I'm getting this symptom of a headache because this is telling me don't go in here or it's crowded in here and what do I need to do to kind of make some changes or navigate my way through? Is it just a matter of cleansing and clearing and then pulling in my auric field, or is it that I really shouldn't go in here or that I need to take care, energetic care, and only go to a certain area of the room? This happened to me at a restaurant recently where I went on a date with my husband and we stepped over the threshold of the restaurant that we adore. And bam, I got hit with a headache immediately. And I was like, whoa, stepped out, cleansed, cleared. Could we go in? And it was really like this pensive feeling like, oh, I don't know if you're going to want to go in here. And I thought, no, we're already here. We're just, I'll just pay attention. Well, we kind of both got sick on the muscles. So, I think what I should have done at that point was like scanned the menu to what should I eat? What would not be beneficial? What would be fine? Because you can really pinpoint where the sensation's coming from. And again, because it's processed in the brow chakra and in your intellect and in your mind, and you could really have this inner dialogue back and forth, like with what's coming up, what should I do here, what do I need to do to protect myself and be safe, and what should I not eat on the menu because it's not a good idea. So the brow chakra is also when I work with students that are really trying too hard, that are working at, letting their unfortunately letting their ego in, and they're trying to figure things out as opposed to let the awareness come to them and look at the awareness. When they're trying too hard, oftentimes they'll get a headache and you can literally see them rubbing their head, rubbing their quote unquote third eye, their brow chakra, as they're struggling for the information, and I'm like, "Okay," and then I do some clearing work on their head to kind of set them back to then move forward. Like, "Just pull back a minute. Let's just kinda sink into yourself. You got this," and, how to proceed. So, just the reminder with headaches and psychic work to really pay attention to that ABC, awareness, breath, care. What do you need to do in this moment? What's going on? And listen, it doesn't have to just be in psychic work. It could just be how you're, going about your day. And as an empathic or a sensitive soul, your body is picking up certain things, and just honor that, noticing and honoring it as you're working, especially this week on exploring the area that is the brow chakra. Hilarious. Spirits like telling me to say this, so I'm gonna say it. This is not to be confused when you think, "Oh god, here comes that guy. That guy gives me a headache. Oh, run the other way." But actually, yeah. Yeah. Sometimes some people give us headaches, and it's because maybe their energy comes on too strong or their thoughts are spiraling and you're trying to do your clairvoyance. Remember that lesson, that episode where you're trying to figure out what the hell are they trying to say and I can't follow their train of thought and I'm like in a freaking maze and Lord help me and now I have a headache. Honor those things too. Honor your inner knowing when you're like, oh God, that person gives me a headache. I can't hang with them. Just it's like sit back and figure out, well, why is that? What's the headache part about there? And then what can you do? Maybe you can speak up and say, hey, you talk too much and you never shut up. Remember that song? Wasn't that a song? Anyway, no, figuring out what can you do to help them and help yourself so that you don't walk away with a headache. And again, don't forget sometimes those empaths out there that are helper healers, that are God's little vacuum cleaners, you're getting headaches too because you're picking up other people's angst and recognizing those moments. And really what's fun is to step in their auric field, step out of their auric field, step in their auric field, step out of their auric field. If you're at a party or something and you're noticing like your head is hurting in certain areas of the room, pay attention to that and then pinpoint where is it coming from or what's this about. And same with headache in regards to a upcoming meeting. I'm trying to interpret what spirit's saying. I'm like, what are you saying? And so, sometimes we get stressed if there's an upcoming project or something that we have to do, present or whatever, and then take the time to listen to that. Take the time. Like, is it a headache from stress that's a brain thing? Or is it headache because, you need to really look at the deeper meaning of what you're what's happening and what's coming up for you as you're trying to, plan or present or head into some kind of presentation that you're about to do. And use that as an opportunity of your soul and your body trying to scream to you to say, "Stop. Look at this. Something about this is making you ill." And so I invite you in those moments to sit down with pen and paper, you know me, and brainstorm it out. Get that? Brainstorm it out with yourself to go, okay, what's coming up? What am I anxious about? What's the headache part? Do I feel ill prepared? Do I feel like, oh, I'm going to get blasted by so and so who's always a jerk in the meeting or whatever? And if that's the case, don't forget your tricks of shining light at them or sending light to them in advance, or the mirror trick when you're in the session. You're like, just put the mirror on them and ask your guides and angels, can you take care of them? Because they're kind of a nightmare and they're giving me a headache and I don't want one. So just kind of noticing, right? And mostly because I think sometimes some of us, that's where we have it happen. That's where, with all the imbalances of the brow chakra, it's often as a headache or maybe even balance issues in the body when we're in literally beside ourselves or we're not really present in the moment. Noticing those times, because that's your energy speaking to you to say, hey, something's up here. Where are you? What are you doing? Pay attention. Hey, I want to tell you about my book, Some Dogs Talk. I wrote this book to teach animal communication among the pages of non creepy paranormal realistic fiction. And because of the content and delivery, it is equally appealing to a wide age group. I think you'll find it fun to explore and actually probably maybe see yourself in the pages. Get your copy today. And then with the brow chakra, I don't want you to talk yourself out of things that you really shouldn't, right? Right? Really, truly. Like, and here's how you can tell is if something comes up from your heart as something you want to do or something you want to go for, and then you start having that mental chatter. Oh, you can't do it. You're not good enough. What are you, crazy? What are you thinking? Or whatever. Don't just go with it, roll with it. Don't stop. Just keep going. All those different things. If your brow chakra, if your mind, right? If your mind starts talking you out of things and pushes it back down to the heart, it gets stuck in the throat. Because you're not living your truth, speaking your truth, and you're not going to really be able to trust yourself to do that. So it gets stuck in the throat chakra. And then it messes up the energy of the brow chakra because you've kind of tapped in and followed kind of your self chatter that you shouldn't. So next time we get together, I am going to talk to you about the voices in your head. I think that deserves its own episode. But I do just want to say this. I want to remind you that when an emotion comes up or a feeling comes up or an impulse comes up from the heart chakra and you talk yourself out of it and shove it down, it gets stuck in your throat. So pay attention. Pay attention to those moments, right? And just really kind of sort that out. So a lot of times when I work on people, whether in my Reiki work or energy balancing or energy balancing classes or healing sessions, and I'm drawn to the brow chakra, it's oftentimes to amp up their psychic sight. You can do that by putting one hand behind the neck and one hand, your other hand on the brow chakra forehead. You could do this to yourself too. You could sit like that. It runs the energy between the two, in the back, it's called the psychic window. And then in the front, of course, the brow chakra. And it's just a really nice way of running energy between the two. So I find that in people that are, struggling to want to see or have more psychic experiences, but keep shutting themselves down or they're afraid. So that's a whole nother sorting issue. But sometimes I find that people come to me for helping healing on the brow chakra because they are, they're just a mess of thoughts, they beat themselves up, they don't listen to their heart, they push it down to the throat, but then the heart kind of flutters and, it just doesn't glow as bright as it can be because they're not listening. They're not listening to the heart. And so it's just this whole time up there in the upper part of the body that I work on with one hand on the brow chakra, one hand on the heart chakra to help the energy run smoothly. Because so often people come in with the brow chakra out, and you could also put one hand directly behind the head, right? And then one hand right on the brow chakra, so you can go straight across, straight through. In Reiki, we call this sandwiching, where we sandwich the chakra right between our two hands. But sometimes people come in because they're just disillusioned because they just haven't been listening to they've either been listening and being or having their life run by the thoughts that are not helpful, or they're getting so overwhelmed with all the thoughts in their head, they're, kind of in a stupor and unable to move forward in their life. And so that stress, angst, and trouble is, kind of messing up their brow chakra, if you will. It's just overwhelm. It's too much. So a lot of times it's because they haven't been listening to themselves. They can't trust themselves. They're not in communication with themselves, which then you know what I'm going to say. I'm not surprised that the throat chakra of communication is right, near the brow chakra, because this is where we can get ourselves into trouble, is when we're, you know, not knowing who we are and what we want. That what is that? That's the know thyself, one of the greatest things a lot of people say as they're getting older in life. They're like, that's my wisdom. You have to know thyself and honor thyself. So when I do this work with them and people that come to me, especially with headaches and vision problems and stuff like that, I work with the brow chakra and see what unfolds. And then I see what information comes up for them. And so probably as you know and realize and have guessed, oftentimes it's more than just an energetic imbalance, it's a lifestyle imbalance. Whether there's brain development issues from early on in their life, or whether it's just patterns that have been on repeat and habits that need changing and like looked at. This is what can drive us crazy in the head, and this like quote unquote crazy, right? This is what can create confusion or just angst in that brow chakra. Is Sometimes it's just some real physical things that need to change and habits that need to change. And so sometimes when people come to me, it is beyond my work. I'm not a therapist. And so I do sometimes get like, listen, this is perfect opportunity for therapy because the way your brain has been wired, it's misfiring in a way because of early experience in your childhood or past life experience. And I'll say to them literally, this is the experience I'm pinpointing it with, but you need to get, you know, move beyond me for therapy. And if you can sort it on your own, fabulous. But if not, reach out to a professional to help kind of work through all of these kind of half halts that you are still living out and living from in regards to your brain chemistry and how your brain is functioning and how it's not serving you, and how you can better serve yourself if you learn new techniques and new strategies and new patterns of behavior and building new habits. And this is an important part too with the brow chakra, especially because so much of the brain, it's affected by thoughts. I will also throw this in. Sometimes brain health is off is because your other brain health is off, your gut health is off. So a lot of times when I have people on my treatment table, I am directed to put one hand on the brow chakra and one hand on the belly, either sacral or solar plexus, because they're having gut and digestive issues. And these areas of the body are just misfiring. And so sometimes it's a full gut analysis that is needed so that the confusion in the brain or the imbalance in the brain is not energetic only, and it's not emotional, mental from prior life stuff, but it's actual physiological, because there's mishap in the gut health. And so I just want to offer you that as well. When I work on balancing the brow chakra, I work with the color within the light spectrum associated with it, which is indigo, and the note is E. There are two stones that I like to use when I'm working with people and their brow chakra. I like to work with apatite, Apatite. Some say it's a stone of manifestations, which I thought is fun. Makes sense to me because I use it for the mind because it helps to remove brain fog and stimulate psychic gifts, especially also meditation, optimal meditation time. I also like to use alexandrite. It's used to enhance concentration and learning and self control and works to balance the emotions and help create a sense of peace of mind. And often, if I have people that are working to recover from any type of addiction, I encourage alexandrite as well. The hand mudra that I encourage clients and students and myself to use to help bring balance to the brow chakra is Shuni mudra because it works towards awareness and clarity, and it helps to increase positive thoughts and enhance focus and discipline. Shuni mudra. And Shuni mudra is formed when you take your middle finger and your thumb, both fingertips to meet, thumb tip and middle fingertip to meet, and the other three fingers are straight up. If you're interested in trying a yoga posture and if that's suitable for you after getting approval from Dr. Care, the yoga posture I recommend to bring energy to the brow chakra is Balasana, child's pose. So, between now and the next time we meet, I encourage you to pay attention to your mental health. How's that? Next time, we're going to talk about the voices in your head. But between now and then, I just want you to notice how sometimes when you argue with your inner knowing or you push down the feelings from your heart and you let yourself talk yourself out of things, how you feel about that when you don't listen to yourself, when you don't listen to your thoughts. I'm encouraging you to flip that. I'm encouraging you to practice listening to your thoughts, listen to the source of those thoughts, and to actually, really pay attention to things that upset you and upset your peace of mind. I encourage you to constantly, be like me, and I'll be like you. Tune in to your soul awareness when you have the opportunity to enhance it. Go back, maybe practice the aura lesson, right? Or the clairvoyance lesson, or even just any of the psychic development lessons can help. What those lessons do is they give you greater awareness to what's occurring and transpiring in your life and around you. And it's just another tool, really, to enhance your experience and your growth potential on the planet. And it gives you opportunity to have a deeper understanding and deeper awareness to what's happening in your life. Your soul will always register your experiences, and the soul awareness helps you to pay attention to what's happening, right? Different than the physical senses. I encourage you to just kind of, work with your own mental health. What do you need to do to take care of yourself so that your peace of mind is intact, right? Noticing what drives you crazy, quote unquote, and what brings about peace. Hey, Constance Messmer here. I just want to do a shout out of big thanks to all the members. I am so grateful. And all the people dropping in and giving little donations here and there and super thanks and all that stuff. I really appreciate you. You members and you people contributing and subscribers are what helped me bring this content to everyone, really. They both contribute to the cost of production, and I am definitely grateful for that. This stuff is not cheap to put out. Oh my God. Oh my God. So every little bit helps, and I am filled with gratitude that you're stepping up. I am not necessarily a joiner, not usually, but there are environmental issues and other organizations that I do belong to and I contribute to because I like to see them persevere. And I'm hoping you feel the same about this work. I hope you put it into practice in your life. That's another way that you could spread this work and help change our world, which is what I think it ultimately does. As you know, I think if everyone tuned into their soul senses, the world would be a much better place. So when you subscribe, it's a big yes vote for the content, and it helps spread the work across the planet. So when you put the lessons into practice and subscribe and like and share, you help me help you carry the lesson beyond you and me. And I am just really grateful. Legally speaking, this podcast is presented solely for educational, spiritual, and entertainment purposes. It is not intended as a substitute for medical diagnosis, treatment, or the advice of a physician, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional. You should not use this information to diagnose or treat a health problem or condition. Always check with your doctor. Thank you.